Good afternoon, everyone. Chris Berryman here, coalition builder and founder of Bringing Humanity Together. Welcome, everyone, to our Bringing Humanity Together live stream today, not only on LinkedIn Live, but also on YouTube, and also brand new is to our Betterment for All corporate Twitter account, and we're streaming live today there as well. And this is under one of three open forums under the Bringing Humanity Together umbrella, where people can discuss topics related to the workplace and humanity in the workplace in a very positive and constructive way. We want to know what the issues are that are out there that are facing people today. And it's our goal to both work with not only employees, but employers to bring humanity back to the workforce. And as always, we'll be always going live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays, all at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, except for Wednesdays. We have a 15-minute meet and greet at 2:45. And then please feel free to invite your friends, co-workers, family members, dogs, cats, bring them all. We don't care. We'll take them all. And feel free to let them know about the replay too and everything. So just to let you all know as you jump on, feel free to comment in the chat where you actually are watching us from today. We would love to reach out and have a great and engaging conversation with you. And of course, if you're watching this on the replay, be sure to comment hashtag replay and, like I said, let us know where you're watching from. And just to let you know, we're allowed to have more people on, so we'll get you on into the green room as quick as possible. And if people drop off, no problem. We'll get you in. And please feel free to comment in the chat, whether it be on Facebook, LinkedIn Live, YouTube, or on Twitter. We would love to engage with you there and everything like that. And so here's our great host today, Sandy Chernoff. Hello there, Sandy.
Hi, Chris.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. As you can see, it's sunny here for a change. It's been raining the last week.
Oh, yeah.
So Yale and I will probably be able to take a walk this afternoon.
Oh, that was nice.
That's what we like to do.
Nice.
So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to look at growth after the pandemic, and how, what's going to happen to businesses. Because of course, right now one of the problems is that because groups can't gather indoors, a lot of people are working from home, and the difficulty of working from home is that ability to have good conversations and to stay in touch communication wise. And so it's very important that the leader of the team have regular meetings online so that people can talk about what they're doing and share information, particularly if they're working on projects together. But, because human beings are very social creatures, not being able to meet directly with your friends and your family is causing people a lot of stress and anxiety. And it's very hard, especially if you live alone, because you feel very isolated. I actually spoke to a dear friend of mine this morning, and her husband died a number of years ago. And Sharon said that, until this pandemic happened, she was fine. She had high energy levels and she was happy to do a lot of things. And now she's feeling really low because she can't really see her friends. And even though she has one son in town, she has one son in Toronto and one son up in Kelowna. And so she can't really see her family either. And it's really hard on her. And I feel badly for her. I have a few friends who are widows, and it's hard. Like they all say to me, well, you have Yale, you guys have fun, you have somebody to do things with. I said, yeah, it's true. I am fortunate. But it's the same thing with businesses where, the people can't work together directly because they're all at home. And it does make it a little more difficult. Yes, we can talk like in situations like this on Zoom or on Skype or on GoToMeeting, or, there's lots of platforms that you can use. But it's still not exactly the same as being in the same room and actually working on something directly together. It's a little more challenging. And for some people, it's hard. It creates stress and anxiety. And that's really not good for us, especially when you're constantly under those kinds of things. What happens is that it's harmful to your body, and it makes it difficult to sleep. It makes it difficult to concentrate. So, more mistakes are being made. It's just, it's a really difficult situation. And although in some places they are changing some of the things, and making it a little bit less locked down, if you will. It hasn't really happened here where I live yet, but they're talking about it. There's going to be a big meeting today at 1:00. It's going to be on television, and they're going to tell us what things they're going to be opening up. One of the things they're going to be opening up is they're going to start allowing people to eat in restaurants instead of just on patios or takeout. But, as far as a lot of other things are concerned, you just can't gather inside in groups because it's just too dangerous. And the biggest problem for those of us who, like to be with other people is that it's those asymptomatic people that are wandering around shedding virus. They don't realize they're shedding virus. And of course, nobody else does either because they have no symptoms. And those are the ones that are causing a lot of the problems. So it is really important that we figure out how to stay in touch with each other in ways that are meaningful and that can help to grow our business, because it's the same thing with clients. I used to sit down with a new prospect and have a discussion about what their specific needs are. I can't do that anymore. I have to either do it on the phone or do it via Skype or Zoom to find out what their specific needs are. And then I send them materials, and then we reconvene either again on the phone or via Zoom so that they can decide which elements they feel are going to be most beneficial to their people. Excuse me. And then I make up the program. And I also provide them with a fully documented syllabus so that their participants do not have to take copious notes, but can be very actively involved in their session. And it's a lot harder to do that when it's not live. Even though there are some platforms for webinars that have breakout rooms, not all of them allow you to talk in the breakout room. So a lot of times you just got to communicate via, a chat box, which again makes it more difficult. I just don't feel that the webinars are quite as effective, and they're certainly not nearly as much fun as live sessions are. I miss being with people. I'm a real people person, and I really miss being with the people and being in the room with them and looking at the expressions on their faces and all those different kinds of things that help you to know if you have to re-explain something, or if there are questions that they haven't really asked, but they're looking kind of confused, things like that. It's harder to determine those things when we're just looking at little pictures of them on the side of a screen. So I think businesses are going to have to re-examine how they operate, because right now, could end up with a lot of empty buildings downtown if a lot of people don't continue to keep their offices. Or what they might do, and this is what some of them are already doing, is that you work from home, say 3 or 4 days a week, and you come into the office 1 or 2 days a week, which is something that they could still do. That would mean that they probably could keep their offices, but they probably wouldn't need offices that are as big as what they have if everybody's there at the same time. So it's a matter of looking at how do we economically handle all of this. And it's looking at it. It's the same thing, the support aspect of business is offering people training. And, getting people to come online to do training is, especially when they have other work to do. I mean, I contacted a number of my clients, and this was the answer I got. Most of our people are working from home, and there are already enough distractions at home. We don't want them doing training. We want them doing their work. That was the answer I got from most of my clients. So, it's a matter of understanding that, yes, it is more difficult. There's no question about it, and it makes people anxious and stressed. And that's harmful to their mind and to their productivity and all those kinds of things. And that's the reason why, if you are working remotely, whoever your manager or your director or your team leader is, they have to stay in touch with the people that are at home on a very regular basis so that they find out if people are struggling with something or how they're coming along with what they're supposed to be doing, and so on and so forth. And in addition, so that the team can also meet and see how everybody's doing and the parts that they're supposed to be responsible for are actually being taken care of, and so on and so forth. Because if that isn't happening, it's very difficult, because you're like working in a vacuum. It's very hard. So it's important that communication lines be open and be open on a regular basis.
Mhm.
You know, it really is up to the person who's the team leader to make sure that that occurs and that their team does get to communicate and does get to have an opportunity to discuss the things that they're working on. Because otherwise, it's really tough. I mean, this is just a really hard time. And, you know, the end is in sight, sort of, because of the vaccinations. But I'm going to be really honest with you. I don't see this being over by the end of this year even. I think it's going to take till next year sometime until things get back to normal, whatever that's going to look like. I don't even know.
I don't believe that COVID's ever going to go away. And it's just, I don't want to say it's like the flu because that makes it sound so like it's nothing because everybody gets the flu. I don't mean it that way. I mean it in terms of, yes, you get vaccinated and that supposedly gives you immunity, but there's plenty of people that have been vaccinated that still get a strain of the flu, just like there's going to be different strains of COVID. It's sad that I think we're doing the best we can with what we've got. I think a lot of companies have shifted to go online. I've been online since September of 2019. And yeah, I get out and meet with clients and things like that too. But COVID hit and it was more online, which was fine. And now that things are a little bit more open where I'm at, I don't have any trouble getting together with clients as long as they're okay with it. But you know what? I was just reading a article. I don't know if you get the same trending articles that I get, but one of them today was talking about all the distractions at home, and then the management, like you said, we don't want them doing any training because they have enough distractions at home. We want them working. It's like we have shifted our lives. I say we in terms of those that were told that they have to work from home. They've got kids at home. They've got family at home. Maybe they've always had a family member that's lived with them that they're caring for, and they've got all these obstacles that are in their way. And we, as employees, have done a great job of adjusting. But it doesn't seem like there's always that shift from the employer because they're expecting the same amount of work to come out and the same amount of activity to come out when we've had to change the way that we work. And there's going to be that anyway, Where do you draw the line between what's COVID related and what's the fact that what's caused by people working at home? But it also comes down to that trust factor that you have to trust the people that are working with you. And that comes through open communication and knowing your people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just don't, sometimes when I read these articles, I'm just like, where's the trust?
Well, if it hasn't been established, Carla.
Yeah, it's never established. It's not going to be established just because COVID came upon the scene.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's harder to establish it under these circumstances.
And, if I were in that environment and I had a manager, it sounds like an ugly word, call it a manager because it certainly is not a leader, telling me that I'm not productive because of distractions at home, I would say, okay, so why don't you come over and teach my children from 9 to 1 and then take the dog out and then sit down with me from 2 to 5.
And who's going to make dinner?
And who's going to make dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, also, ladies, it comes to this, and I saw this even before COVID hit because I knew there was going to be that growth factor. What we are doing here at Bringing Humanity Together and what our vision is. I knew that there was going to be growth, not because of the pandemic hit. I just knew there's going to be growth for humanity because we need that growth. We need to become a part of something bigger than of ourselves. We need those very leaders who will do the right thing and not the easy thing. And some people have used this pandemic to say, just like what you said, Sandy, earlier, oh, they'll be too distracted. You can't do no webinars or training, anything like that. We can't do that. Why not? If it's going to be a benefit to everybody involved, then it will be a great thing to be able to say, hey, let's have clarity to focus, influence to impact, and be able to get those things that we need now more than ever. Because if we have a time to pause and reflect, as the pandemic has now shown us to a certain extent, then we can not only learn from that, but grow from that. What do you think about that, ladies?
I agree with you, Chris. It's a matter of understanding that the world is different right now. And we don't know what the new quote unquote normal is going to be like when this is sort of over. And I agree with Carla. I don't think this virus is ever going away. And I think we're going to be not only having our regular flu shots, but probably booster shots against COVID as well. Just make sure that we keep our immune systems high so that, I mean, these vaccines do not totally prevent you from getting the virus, but what they do prevent you from doing is getting the virus and getting a very bad version of it and maybe dying from it. If you have the vaccine and that has boosted your immune system, so yeah, we'll be able to handle it. But people who are shunning the vaccine and don't want to do it because they think it's dangerous or they think it's going to be harmful or whatever other bogus things are going around out there, because there's a lot of them, they're making a mistake. Because, you know, if with the vaccine, yes, it doesn't guarantee you won't get the virus. It's not a guarantee. But it is a guarantee that if you get it, you will get a much milder version. You probably won't end up in the hospital and you certainly won't die. It was the same thing with the flu vaccines. Didn't guarantee you wouldn't get the flu.
Yeah.
But if you got it, you would get a milder version of it, so you wouldn't be that sick. And that's really what this is all about. And it's a matter of people understanding that that's what it's all about and why they have to get the vaccine and why the world is, you know, I mean, look at India. I mean, it's a horrible mess. It's so sad. And, you know, it's a matter of looking at what are we doing? And, you know, it's also bringing out the worst in people. You know, people should be nice to each other. And, you know, a lot of human beings aren't that nice. And this is bringing out the nastiness in a lot of people because they're upset and they're stressed and they're, you know, not feeling well and so on and so forth. And it doesn't help. I told you I grew up with a grandfather who always said that there were no bad boys and no bad girls. And he always said to me, what goes around comes around. You're nice to people, people will be nice to you.
Carla.
You're nasty and mean. Well, that's what you're going to get. So it's just a matter of what are you doing? And yes, this is a difficult time and it is hard, but it's a matter of understanding that we're human and we need to be nice to each other. We need to help each other. We need to support each other. And if we can do that, we're going to get through this a whole lot better. But it's just a matter of, you know, figuring out, especially in the business world, how to do that. And we need to be kind to each other. We need to be supportive. We need to be understanding. And if we can do those things, we're going to get through this in a much better way. It's just a matter of understanding that. And that's the human piece, Chris. I mean, you know, it's again, it's not that difficult, but the organizations that have had bad cultures, in this situation, it's even worse because it just makes it really bad. Organizations that have pretty good cultures, those that are respectful and supportive and encouraging and acknowledging, won't have as much trouble with you know, the remote working and ultimately when we can get back together again, because they've established that trust and that respect and that rapport, and it's already there. So it's just a matter of maintaining it. But if it's not there and it's never been there, this is not a time that it's going to be easy to establish it unless you really step back and make a huge effort. So, you know, business growth right now is mainly online. I mean, that's really where the growth is going to be because getting together with people is kind of difficult. So we have to have conversations, whether they're on the phone or they're using Zoom or using, you know, some other platform. We still need to communicate with people, but we're doing it in, you know, usually not face to face. Because the coaching clients that I have now, I do them on Zoom. I haven't had any coaching clients to my house, which is what I normally do, and I'm not doing that now because I don't know what kind of contacts they've had. I don't want them in my house because my
Well,
house.
at least you have the opportunity to do a Zoom call with them. I know a lot of people are just trying to figure out and negotiate Zoom. And like last night, I was on a training type call. It wasn't from my organization; it was somebody else that was doing it for them. And while we love the idea that we finally went to Zoom because we had some issues with Facebook a few weeks ago, they maxed out on 100 people on the call in 5 minutes. So
wow,
missed out on that and had to, like I did. I was busy with something else, but caught the replay. But then they had to expand. So a lot of people are learning about all the different ways. I know for technology, I know that since the pandemic, I have I was doing phone calls for a while, and then I just decided I was going to start doing Zoom calls because I think that you can get one, especially one-on-one. It's hard if you've got, an assembly of 50 or 100 people because you can't really see facial expressions, but you can truly get to know somebody and get on a different level face to face than you can if you're just on the telephone.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And
there's non-verbal stuff that's coming at you. If you can't see it, it's coming at you.
A lot of people are like not wanting to go back to the office. Number one, they've realized that they don't have to worry about a 30, 45 minutes, sometime an hour commute to the office. They don't have to worry about packing their lunch in the morning if they're, figuring out what they want for breakfast. They're packing a lunch or spending $10 on a lunch, that kind of thing. So they've saved money. They've saved on their commute. They've really kind of restructured their lives that's less stressful. So, whenever I have to go somewhere early in the morning, it's just like, oh, don't make me get up this early. Not that I sleep till 10 or anything, but it's I gotta be there by 10. I have to leave by 9:30. I have to walk the dog at 9, and then that means I have to shower at 8, and I'm up at 7. And next thing you know, you're going, is this really worth it? It's true. You kind of get into that more relaxed routine. And it gives you, when you're at home, that travel time, you can be a lot more productive and getting maybe some personal things done before your workday starts, I remember when I was working, so many things would get moved from day to day on my calendar because I never even thought about them at work, and I could never get to them. And it was just like, maybe I'll get one thing done this week, It's just never enough time. So I think a lot of people have realized that there is life outside of work.
Yeah.
Well, there are, like you just said, Carla, there are advantages to working from home because, yes, you save the gas money or your transit fees, whatever those are. You save the time of the commute. And it's also a hassle because, the commuting times, traffic is busy. So, it's not much fun. People get into accidents. There's all sorts of different aspects of that back and forth. And you're right. You can schedule things in. So, yes, I need to get this much work done, but before I get started, I can do my dinner prep, or I can put in a laundry, or I can, there's other things that you can do because you're at home.
Yeah.
And, you can work around things. But it's just a matter of, again, you still have to be organized.
You have to. And you cannot multitask.
No.
Yeah.
You cannot be doing laundry and cleaning your house in between phone calls.
No.
And be productive. You've got to schedule.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that, people have to figure out. And some people are just better at that than others. We get up very early here. Neil and I usually are up before 6. Believe it or not.
My alarm goes off at 7, and I'm usually dreaming pretty good up when it goes off.
Well, I don't even need an alarm. We just wake up. Because we're so, kind of, I don't know, hooked into this at this point.
Yeah.
Neil usually leaves the house before 6:30. but I'm already up and doing my exercises by the time he's, leaving. And so I have, many hours in the morning before these conversations or before anything else that I have to do. So I can do some dinner prep or some lunch prep or put in a laundry. But then, I set aside, okay, so, for the next couple of hours, I'm going to write blogs, or I'm going to,
Yeah, your power.
yeah. So it's a matter of, figuring out how you schedule your day in terms of what needs to get done and how you're going to get it done. And you have to set aside blocks of time to do your work. And they need to be blocks of time that aren't going to be interrupted by a bunch of other stupid things. But when you have kids at home, and especially now because the kids are at home doing their schooling at home, it's a whole different ballgame.
Well, now school's getting out. Like our schools are getting out the last week of school. Some states that have gone back to school, maybe next week or so is early June is their end date. So next thing you know, these people are going to have kids at home.
Yep. Well, when we Skyped on Sunday with our grandsons, they're very excited because they're actually going to camp this summer. They're actually going to a sleepover camp. They couldn't last summer because they were all canceled, but this summer they're actually going to a camp that Jack's gone to a number of times, and this is the first time Sam gets to go. He's so excited. For camp, and he's going for, I think, 3 or 4 weeks, so he's so excited about this. And cool, because that'll give Mark
3 or 4 weeks at a stretch.
Yep.
Wow.
Jack's going for the whole summer. He's going for 8 weeks, Carla.
Wow, that's a big stretch for kids to be out away from home.
Well, but they have these camps that they go to. They have so much going on.
Uh-huh.
And there's swimming and there's hiking and there's camping and there's arts and crafts and there's singing and dancing, all sorts of sports. So there's all kinds of things that they do. So their kids are always entertained and kept busy. And they have a wonderful time. Jack loves it. I mean, he was so sad last summer when he couldn't go.
Oh, I bet.
And Sam was supposed to go last summer, and he was very disappointed that it got canceled because that was going to be his first opportunity to go to a sleepover camp.
Oh, wow.
But it's just, the boys are very, very excited about this. And I think I told you they just got a dog. So they're going to put this dog into some kind of training program, but they're going to wait till the boys go away to camp. Then they'll put the dog in the training program.
Oh,
What
nice.
kind of dog did they get?
I can't remember what kind of a dog it is. It's very cute. It's about this big.
Oh, okay.
But
Nice.
it's a matter of what are you doing as a family? I mean, Mark and Kim, my son and daughter, are both working from home right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, what it is. Mark has contracts in the States, but he also has this company he works for in Edmonton. And Kim has a couple of jobs as well. She works for Google, and she has a regional position. She's got a master's in education, and she teaches teachers, how to be more effective in the classroom, both with Google and also on her own. And so she does a lot of webinars. But now she's, instead of doing live workshops like what she was doing before, she's now doing webinars from home. So she had to set up an office at home where it was, there wouldn't be other outside noises and different kinds of things. So she had to set that up. And Mark's been working from home, since this whole thing started because he's hardly traveling at all anymore. And it's nice. The boys love it because their dad's at home.
Oh, I bet.
Well, they do. They just, because Mark's a really good dad and he loves doing stuff with the boys. He'll take them out and they'll bicycle ride together and they'll go and they'll play baseball and they'll play soccer and they'll play basketball. I mean, he does everything with them. And they've got a trampoline in their backyard that's got a basketball hoop in it. And so,
Cool.
oh yeah. So, I mean, they do all kinds of stuff that's really fun. And, when I'm there, it's the same thing. I'll do whatever the boys want to do. They want to go to mini golf. They want to play soccer. They want to play baseball. I mean, I'll go and do it with them. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
And we have fun. But it's just a matter of, the disruptions are there because the boys are at home. And so Jack's pretty good because he can do a lot of it on his own. But Sam needs more help. So his room is right next door to the room where Kim has her office. So if he's struggling with something, he goes and knocks on the door. Mommy, I need your help. So, sometimes Kim has to, he knows not to do it if she's in the middle of a webinar, but if she's just doing some other stuff, then, he'll, go to her. But if he needs help and she's in the middle of a webinar, he's got to go find his dad and get Mark to help.
But fun.
But it does interrupt whatever they're doing, and they have to help the boys because this is what's going on. All their schooling is online now.
Yeah.
So, and in Ontario, they're completely locked down.
So what are your son and daughter-in-law going to do without the kids for 8 weeks?
Oh, I think they're going to have a wonderful time.
They're going to go out in the backyard and jump on the trampoline together.
Well, maybe they'll even take a little, trip somewhere. Like there's places to go in Ontario, to lakes and to different things, and maybe maybe take a trip because they're going to be driving the boys. The boys' camp is outside of Ottawa, so it's about a 5-hour drive.
Ottawa's between Toronto and Montreal, right?
Exactly. So they're going to be driving the boys to the camp. So that's 10 hours of driving. So I said, we said to them, well, aren't you going to stay overnight there or something? He said, well, we haven't decided yet what we're doing. I went, okay, whatever. But it
doesn't look that far on the map, but I guess it is.
It is. And I mean, before, you see, the kids used to go on a bus. But now, they're not doing that. So now the parents have to drive the kids. And also there's a parents' day each month. So you go up and you can visit your kid, on that day. So again, you got to drive up there again.
Oh man!
Wow.
It just amazing. I mean, when you have kids, our kids also went to camp, and our daughter went to a camp in the States, and our son went to a camp in the interior of BC that I went to when I was a kid, and they also went for at least 3 weeks, and again. The camp that I went to, Camp Atikva, is on a beautiful lake. It's called Lake Kalamalka, which means Lake of Many Colors. And
nice.
It's a beautiful, beautiful camp. They have a beautiful dock, and you can water ski, and they had volleyball courts and baseball diamonds and, all kinds of stuff at the camp, and arts and crafts. And they have a big hall where they do dancing and different sorts of things, and the kids have a wonderful summer, and they stay in cabins according to their age, and it's fun. I loved it, and my siblings, 3 of us all went, and our son liked Camp Atikva, and Elisa had a friend who went to this camp in the States, and so that's where she wanted to go.
Yeah.
And so we said, fine, so go there. So, they were Jewish camps, and so, they had all the stuff that they're used to. And it was great. And both of them still have friends that they're in touch with, because Camp Atikva had kids not only from Vancouver, but from Alberta. And there were even some that came up from Washington State. So,
wow.
So they had friends that they met at the camp. So it's not, and for people working from home now, especially with the kids being at home, there are a lot of distractions, and it is difficult to set a time frame, because unless you're both there, or unless you have a network who can handle some of this, you will be interrupted. It just is what it is, and there isn't anything around it, because if the kid needs help, the kid needs help.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Like I said, my older grandson, who's going to be 12 in October, he's pretty good on the computer, so Jack doesn't usually need much help. Sam's not as strong on the computer as Jack is. He's only 8, so he often needs more help. And he'd rather be in school.
Yeah. Well, it's different. If you have your own business, then you can organize your power hours and your time. A lot of people that work for themselves actually work full time. Yes. And a lot of people will say, oh, well, it's my full-time job, and it's really not a full-time job, because it's my job, it's my sole job, but it's not 8 hours a day. So that's completely different from working for an organization where you have to clock in and take a lunch break, and you have to be productive. Well, we're all productive, but produce a certain amount of work, attend certain meetings, and clock out at such and such a time.
Exactly.
It's completely different. So I think if you're working for yourself, you have a little bit more flexibility in how that journal is going to work out, because you're going to work it out according to your schedule and put your family first, and then the rest fit in the rest throughout the day, whereas you can't do that when you're an employee.
No.
Yeah.
I've always worked from home since I started this business. But you're right, Carla. I mean, before that, I used to have to be at the office before 8 because my first patient was 8. I was usually there at 7:30, and I went till 4. And then, you know, at the end, I got to clean up. So, you know, I never got out of there at 4 o'clock. So, you know, it was a long day.
Well, a lot of healthcare practices have realized that they don't necessarily need registered nurses in the office when they can do a lot of stuff remotely and get medical assistants to actually run the rooms.
Fair enough.
And it works fine, you know?
But in dentistry, I mean, you've got to have your qualified people doing their appropriate job. I mean, the receptionist doesn't need to be a dental assistant or a dental hygienist, but they need to understand the terminology. And, you know, it's just a matter of educating people and getting them to feel comfortable with the terminology. But after that, you know, I mean, I had to be there all day. There just wasn't a choice because I had a schedule of patients. You know, every hour I had a patient.
Well, yeah, you had to put your hands in their mouth. You know, that you can't get away with it. But I know in a lot of medical practices, like it used to be only an elite few had a VPN, virtual private network, to where they could actually like maybe look up patients that called in. You know, if you're on call, you could look up patients and see what was going on with them and answer their questions and things like that. And as opposed to just kind of figuring out where they were in the scheme of things. And with COVID, it's almost forced a lot of medical practices to allow staff that can work from home. And that has dictated, because of HIPAA privacy, that they have to provide them the VPNs to be able to log in to do their work.
Well, even with the doctors, Carla, I mean, I finally saw my doctor last week, okay? But I haven't seen him for over a year. We have had telephone conversations about things, and then he would email me, you know, the list of tests for when I, you know, would go to the lab for my annual tests. I hadn't seen him for over a year, so when I went the other day, I said, "Oh, it's really nice to see you. I haven't seen you for so long. I like seeing you." He laughed. Well, he's a very nice fellow, but it's just, you know, he often doesn't come into the office. So even the phone calls sometimes were just from home. So it's just a matter of, you're right, depending on what's going on and how you can handle it. He didn't necessarily have to be in the office all the time. He could still talk to patients and you know, send them to specialists or, you know, whatever needed to be done. And so, you know, it just depends. Now, with the dentist that I currently go to, seems how my brother's now retired, I had to get a new dentist. So when I went to get my teeth cleaned the last time, the way their office is set up, you come in the front door, you leave out the back door, and they only allow about 3 patients in the waiting room at once. And when I came into the hygienist's operatory, she showed me she had a window open, and she also had an air purifier in the operatory, because, you know, there's a lot of aerosols in dentistry. And so I felt very comfortable, you know, and I know that they know how to clean up, and, you know, because it's just something that we've always done and you just do it. So I wasn't worried about that, but I was very happy to see that she had an air purifier in there, because there are so many aerosols in dentistry.
I'm actually going to the dentist this afternoon, and they tell you to call from the parking lot. And then the last time I went, they didn't even require a mask, but you know, they said, call us and we'll do the check-in. And I guess it's the standard questions. Have you been around anyone with COVID? Have you had any fever? Have you had any symptoms? Yada, yada, yada. Okay, come on in. And I said, so what's today? She goes, well, we can't clean your teeth with a mask on.
Exactly.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I came in with the mask, but of course, as soon as I went into her operatory, off it came. But they also took my temperature when I came in. They asked all the same questions. But she asked me all the questions on the phone ahead of time, too.
Yeah.
So they still, you know, took your temperature. And, you know, that's fine.
My husband's chiropractor has never required masks because he said if you're standing at my front counter and you're answering yes to these questions and you don't have a mask on, you've already contaminated everybody.
Yeah.
So, and that's just his point of view on that, you know.
Well, I don't go anywhere without them. I've got a mask in my purse. I've got masks in my car. I have masks in the that I wear on a regular basis. And, you know, anywhere that I go inside, the grocery store or into a dental office or into the medical office, or even when we walk outside, even though, you know, we're just outside, we generally wear masks. I mean, we just figure it's the safest thing to do. And even at the golf course, Carla, when I went inside to register, you know, and everything, I wore a mask. On the golf course, I didn't. But inside the driving range and inside the clubhouse, I wore a mask.
Well, when you walk the golf course, you wear a mask?
No.
Okay.
We even played with two guys that we didn't know, but, you know, we physically distanced, and it was fine. And, you know, golfing, your ball doesn't usually end up that close to somebody else's ball. So it's not usually a huge issue.
I'm all over the place.
Unless you get a hole in one. Now, if you get a hole in one, it's a totally different story.
Chris, you can stand back and let the person take their ball out of the hole. It's the same thing on the tee box. You don't always need to be, you know. And in fact, the guys were teeing off from the blues and we were teeing off from the whites. So, you know, they were back there.
Yeah, I'm way over here. My husband's way over there. So we parked the car in the middle. Yeah.
So, you know, it's just a matter of, you know, what are you doing? And one of the nice things about golf is the fact that, you can do it socially in terms of, you know, you can play with other people, because it's pretty easy to physically distance on the golf course.
Yeah.
It's, you know, and you are outside. So, you know, it's not like being in a hall or being in an office or, you know, being in a grocery store or whatever. So it's, you know, it's just more pleasant. And, you know, it's a good thing to do. I mean, I think I've told you this before. We live on a golf course. And even though we've had rain here, I couldn't believe how many golfers were on the golf course in the rain. A good time. But anyway, they were out there in the rain.
Some people are diehards.
Yep, I agree.
I don't play in the mud.
Especially on a day like this, the golf course is full. You know,
I bet.
People lined up to tee off, and you know, it's fine. It's nice. We've only had one golf ball through our den window.
Oh man.
One. We've been here 17 years, so that's not so bad.
That is pretty good. That is pretty good.
We look at the 18th green from our den.
What green?
Nice.
18th.
Oh, nice. We need a picture.
Yes. Yeah, we need a picture. So, ladies, when it comes to growth of humanity, whether it be personal or professional together, because I don't separate the two, because we're interconnected as one person as it is. What do you look into your kind of like, if you had a crystal ball and say, hey, what does the growth of humanity look like moving forward? What does that look like to you, ladies, on how we can grow as human race moving forward in a post-pandemic world?
Well, Chris, I'm a little concerned about it, to tell you the truth, because I think that this has been hard on people. And because they haven't been socializing as much as they normally do, I think they got to get back into how to react and how to deal with people in an appropriate and respectful and nice way. And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how all of this pans out in the end, because I think that a lot of people have gotten out of the habit of being nice. It's just, and because they're stressed out or they're anxious, they're snappy.
They take it out on anybody.
Yeah. So, you know, it will be very interesting to see what happens once things get back to normal, whatever that's going to look like, because we have no idea what that's going to look like, particularly in the business world. Will people go back to the offices? Remains to be seen. I think a lot of people, like Carla said, are enjoying working from home without having to deal with the commute and, you know, everything else. However, in order to really get things done, if you have a lot of distractions at home, it's hard to actually set aside blocks of time to just do your work. So It's different when you're out of the house and in the office. So even if they just do a few days a week in the office or half days or, whatever they end up doing to actually get their work done, it'll be very interesting to see how this all works out in the end in terms of what happens with offices that, where people were there from 8 to 4 or 9 to 5 or whatever, if that's going to happen again. It will be interesting to see.
Carla, your thoughts?
I think we need personal growth, and that personal growth will bleed into our work growth, because we really need to be teaching. We really need to be treating people with kindness and respect, and leading with our humanity, and then that will in turn, you be a naturally nicer person, a naturally kinder person, and that's just who you are, and it's going to be that way at work too.
Yeah, and I like that you said leading with your humanity, and because I truly believe in that, ladies, because I even knew before the pandemic hit that like I said, I wasn't even going to let the very changes of a pandemic change the way I live, even though it has to a certain extent. I just had the mindset and say, hey, I'm going to make it better, no matter pandemic or not. I just knew I had to do a thing that will get me to where I needed to go. And a lot of people haven't gotten to that point maybe in their lives because they have let the very things that the pandemic has led us to have not get them where they need to go. That's why I truly believe in this, ladies, and that's why you guys are here with me on this journey. That maybe if we can show people from around the world that they could be on their hero's journey and they could become the very hero and leaders that we know that they can be, what's going to end up happening is they can open themselves up to a much larger world because there's that guide right beside them taking that very journey with them, whether it be Carla with me or Sandy, I'm with you, or we're doing all this together. Because I truly believe our paths are going to intersect with each other at one point in time. It's just going to naturally happen. But like I said, I've never let the pandemic define who I am and what I stand for. I'm just going to let that occur. That doesn't work for me. But what I did say is, you know what? I'm going to make it better for me, my wife, the people around me, my family, the people that I work with, and just I'm so grateful to God that I have them in my life. Because like I said, I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for you two ladies, and then great many other people, Brian, Graham, so many others, and the other people who are coming on board with us now as we speak, because they see the opportunity to advance their personal growth, interconnecting with that professional growth because they're one and the same. So I truly believe we have a huge opportunity to, like I said, like you say every time, Sandy, influence to impact. And if we can influence to impact people from the very smallest things that we do, boy, that field of dreams is going to be huge for all of us because we know if we build it, they are going to come, and it's going to come very soon, more than what they are telling us. For me, people have told me, "Oh, you're not going to achieve that. That field of dreams, I'm never going." It's coming. We're building that field. It's coming. It's here, and I'm just so appreciative that you two are just in my life right now. I just thank God that you guys are here.
Well, you know what, Chris? What you're trying to do, in my opinion, and also in my experience, is very important. Because if people can enjoy their work, which is where, as adults, we spend most of our life, then their lives will be better because they'll be happier. And if they're happier, then that changes your brain chemistry. You release more endorphins. It enhances your immune system. It helps you to think more clearly and to focus better. There's all those good things that happen when you're happy. And so it's a matter of what are we doing? People who are unhappy, and the statistics are that about 70% of the population hate their job. Oh my God, what kind of a life?
Yeah.
So
Sad.
Carla. So, why aren't you doing something that you enjoy? Why aren't you working with people that you enjoy? And there's no reason why we can't. There's absolutely no reason why we can't. It's just a matter of figuring out how we can be more humane. And maybe that will spread to the other people that we're working with, because if we're nice to them, hopefully they'll be nice back to us. And it's catchy. It's just a matter of we should be being nice to each other. I mean, that's what human beings should do.
Kindness is contagious.
Yeah, there's no point in being nasty. It's just as easy to be nice, so why be nasty? It just doesn't make any sense. But there are people who are comfortable being nasty, and especially when they're stressed out and they're anxious, then they take it out on whoever's around them. And that's just really sad. And it's also, in my opinion, kind of inappropriate. So it's better to, yes, we're dealing with something that's very difficult right now. There's no question about that. But it doesn't need to take over your life so that, you have no life and that everything is horrible and stressed out and we're anxious and all those kinds of things. Yes, it's difficult to not be seeing our friends and even some of our family, or even the people that we work with if we're working remotely now. But we know that it's temporary. It's not going to be going on forever. This is going to be changing ultimately and hopefully sooner than later. But it's just a matter of understanding that we have to be nice to people. We have to show our humanity. And if we can do that, we're going to have a better life and the people around us will have a better life. It's not that hard. I mean, it's not really that hard. It's just a matter of making the effort and being conscious of what you're doing and saying. And a lot of people aren't. But if we can be that way, then we can just have a much nicer life altogether. It's just a matter of paying attention to those things. I mean, as I said, I spoke to a friend of mine this morning who is on her own, and I remember her husband. Her husband was hysterical. I mean, when you ever talked to Herb on the phone, you never knew exactly what he was going to tell you or who he was going to be, because sometimes he pretended he was a woman, and he was such a character. He was so. And I said that to Sharon this morning. She says, "Yeah, I know. Everybody has stories about Herb." I mean, that's just what he was, and so she, now she's alone, and it's very hard for her. And she said to me, "Well, you're lucky you have Yale." I said, "I know, and I appreciate that. I really do." Because we've also kept our bubble very small, and it's just our daughter and Yale's sister and her grandson and his girlfriend who are in our immediate bubble. We don't really see anybody else. I mean, I see people on the street, but we physically distance, we're wearing masks, and we don't go into anybody's house. It's just, we don't do that. And so it's not like it used to be, but you have to do what you have to do. And in order to stay safe and healthy, we have to be nice to each other and say hello and have a little chit chat, whatever. It's fine. But it's not the same as what we used to do. But, accept it. It's what it is.
It could be a lot worse.
Exactly. And, I mean, I live in a townhouse complex, so there's roads around here and everybody goes for walks. So we see everyone on the street, we say hi. There's one couple in here that are very good friends of ours, and they're always walking their dog, so we always see them. And that's fine. We always stop and have a little chat, but we're physically distanced. And, there are other people in here that we are friendly with. We don't necessarily socialize with them, but we're friendly with them. So again, you can have a little chat on the street. No big deal. But it's just a matter of how are you dealing with this? Are you making it worse for yourself? Because if you are, why? It's bad enough. So step back and bring your humanity to the front so that you can enjoy the people that you can enjoy and at least enjoy your partner. And if your kids are at home, enjoy them. I mean, again, it's not that hard, but it's just a matter of deciding that that's what you're going to do. And it's the same thing at work. If you are in an office, like people who are in the dental office or some of these other places where they are at work in an office, just be nice to your colleagues. I mean, again, it's not that hard, and we're all in the same boat. So,
That we are. So,
Well, I mean, when people are ugly to other people, they really need to stop and think, would I say those things to myself? And if they would say those things to themselves, or maybe they are saying those kind of things to themselves, they need to be working on their own personal health.
Exactly. Because again, I mean, this humanity thing is so important, Chris. I mean, it just really is. I mean, why would you not help people? Why would you not be nice to people? I mean, like my grandfather used to say, what goes around comes around. You're nasty to people, they'll be nasty back to you because, that's just how human nature works. You're nice to them, you're kind, you're helpful, you're thoughtful. Why wouldn't they be nice back to you? There's no reason why they wouldn't. So it's not that hard. It's really not. It's just a matter of thinking, what do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? What do you want your life to be like? Even during this pandemic, which is a tough time, there's no question about it. But it doesn't mean that you can't enjoy your life still by doing things that are nice. And, again, not that hard.
So ladies, if you had a call to action that would really uplift, inspire, and really motivate humanity to become a part of something bigger in a post-pandemic world, what would it be?
I think just be nice, Chris. Just, be kind to people. Help people that need a helping hand if you can. And just, because you get so much pleasure from that. People who don't do volunteer work and they don't help others have no idea how good that makes you feel.
Yeah.
Seriously. It's just, I mean, I've done literally thousands of hours of volunteer work. And it's always been interesting and a learning experience. But in the end, you feel good because you've helped someone who is less fortunate than yourself or who maybe couldn't have some of the things that you have or whatever. It doesn't matter, but it makes you feel good. And why not be doing things that make you feel good?
Carla?
Well, I would add to what Sandy said. People need to start with their own personal introspection of how they treat themselves and how they treat other people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it's like you always say, Chris, I help you, you help me, we help you.
Yeah.
To me, volunteering, I mean, it's a great feel-good experience. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I think people that have that volunteer spirit do it mainly because they want to help other people.
Yeah.
And having that reward or appreciation or feel good from volunteering is just icing on the cake.
Exactly.
Yeah. And see, that is why I'm so driven to do this with both of you and so many more from around the world, because I know we can bring the power of positivity and the power of possibility and share it with the world, because I truly know once the law of momentum starts to really kick in, it's really going to really touch people in a very unique way. And I tell people every day this. It's not who you know now, so you don't know, so you need to know. And we can maybe even provide that kind of opportunity for them, that maybe when they're on their hero's journey and we're on there with them, there might be even like I said, a point of personal and community transformation that will take place because we're allowing that to occur. And once we allow that to occur and grow and nurture it and make it thrive and everything, it's going to be a beautiful thing, ladies. And I truly believe in that.
Well, the whole experience is not for us to be a hero. It's us to helping others create a situation to where they are problem solvers and they are heroes of their own story.
Yes.
And it is contagious to a certain degree. It's sort of like a snowball going down the hill. It just gets bigger and bigger. But when you start with a small group and group grows, everybody's going to jump on because they see that it's beneficial to do so.
Yeah, exactly. And see, I told you ladies this from day one. It's not the many that we need to reach out to. It's only the one, because the one will turn into many. We just need to keep that in mind, because once that one hits us, I know it's going to be like fireworks. It will go everywhere. I just know it, because like I said, the power of momentum and the power of positivity, when you put that in place, it's like you said, that snowball effect just go on and on and on and gets bigger, 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 and then boom, it's going to be that way. So, as always, ladies, like I said, I'm so thankful that you're in my life and I can be in yours. And I know tomorrow's conversation, I'm going to go more in depth about our personal growth, because I really think that's going to be really a great thing to bring up. So, ladies, as always, I thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and we're going to do great things together. I just see it and I know it
We are, Chris.
that we are. So again, again, everyone, if you have any questions, comments, or you want to reach out to any one of us, please reach out to us on LinkedIn. Our profiles will be in this post today. So we'll post our profiles there. We'll comment. Please reach out to us and everything. And we love to hear from you. And like I said, this is our business page here. Please follow it. We would love to engage with you also on the business page too as well. And also join also our Facebook group that we have too as well. And we want to have you be a part of that. And if you want to even join our LinkedIn group, we'll have a one-on-one with you about our LinkedIn groups that we have too as well. And we would love for you to be a part of that. So, again, thank you, ladies. I appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow for Conversations for Humanity. And everyone, have a great and terrific Tuesday and make it your day.
Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.